Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show where after the collision, we sift through
The wreckage.
the
Boy,
yeah, nice. I am your
Wow.
host. He's my co-host, the best in the world, Jamie the Bear Williams, and our other co-host. I'm not going to even say a special guest because he's been here every week for the last few weeks. It is the glorious and the magnanimous Chabelo Vera Cruz.
I gotta imitate my favorite AEW wrestler of all time, Daniel Garcia. Just join it. Death Riders rule.
Wow.
Oh, there we go. Anyway, fellas, what a friggin' week it's been in pro wrestling, particularly on the AEW side of things. I mean, shit. Before we sift through the blood and all the guts, because there's going to be a lot of that. A lot of that when I say blood and guts. But you know what? Before we get into all that, Vet, how you been, man? What's cracking?
Well, sometimes life throws you those curveballs. It throws you the lemons. It throws you the chicken shit and everything like that. And you just got to deal. It's been one of those kind of weeks. So, but I wouldn't miss it for the world to be here on The Wreckage with my guys. So thanks very much for, being here and everybody else watching too.
Oh, nice, man. We appreciate you, Vet, of course, man. You are the best in the world for a reason. But
It's a family affair, Jimmy. You know this. We are all family. How many nights? We are all family. And you know what? Just go to your friendly neighborhood doctor after Blood and Guts. Check for hepatitis C and all that stuff. I'm just the PSA right now. But you know what, Jimmy? I know maybe you have the breaking news. I don't want to go into it, but you know what? For Vet's sake, I know he's gonna be happy because maybe he did not know, but somebody, his favorite girl of all time, just became 13 times belts Moné. So I think for a crappy week it might have been. For Vet, Saturday night turned into, I can deal with all the crap that's going on in this world, but the reality is, as long as Mercedes Moné got another belt in her capper, it's all good.
Baker's dozen money.
No, 13.
why?
That's Baker's dozen. One for the baker.
Hey, at least she's bringing the heat, man. That's for sure. You know what I mean?
Damn
Now
right.
the Marktards are going to go crazy like they have been all over the X, if you know what I mean. I saw that just before we went off the air, and I thought, is that for real? You know
That's
what I mean?
13 is one number. Another number is one. Because that's the ranking in the PWI women's 250
No
for
way.
the moneymaker, the CEO.
Wow, really? She made it. Well, you know what? That makes sense. I mean, when you think about it, you know what? Do you think she's had a better year than anyone in WWE even has in terms of the women?
I mean, who cares about a mark question like that? But I mean, she's doing what she's got to do.
Well,
She's
yeah,
showing
absolutely.
up. She's coming to work, unlike some tag teams or whatever. So you got to give her that at least.
No, absolutely. Prof, do you feel the same way? Has anyone had a bigger year than Moné has in professional wrestling?
Vet doesn't want to do it, but I'll do the Mark logic. I will just say, when she's number one on PWI, I cannot dispute that. Nobody can dispute it. At the time of the PWI, it wasn't like she had the baker's dozen, like Vet said. I think it was because they always cut it off to a certain point. So at that time, she was already at 9 or 10 belts. So it is what it is. The stats show it. The numbers don't lie. Whether people like it, that's the difference. That's subjective. You know that, Jimmy. You know that, Vet. So it is what it is. But the numbers speak for itself. Whether I like it or not, that's not neither here nor there. But it is what it is. She's number one. Toni Storm is number two. We're not gonna go down the line, but that's where you could get subjective, Jimmy and Vet. I mean, who had a good year in certain terms of that Mark logic was Toni. Toni Storm and Mercedes. They dominated the AEW's women's division. The storylines were around that. That's where I would say that justifies 1 and 2 respectively. But if you want a stat pad, Mercedes is okay. But JC Jane, she was a double champion. Naomi had a great run before she was pregnant officially. She had a great run. Stephanie Vaquer was a double belts woman herself. So she had a great run. So again, subjective Mark logic, Jimmy and Vet. They could be top 5 in the professor's list, maybe in the wreckage list, but it is what it is. It's always subjective.
Well, yeah, that's a good. If you want a real answer from me, I mean, the woman that had the best year for herself was Stephanie, easily. Like, if we're talking about, we're not talking about kayfabe stuff or whatever, but we're talking about like the way people get treated in the wrestling business, the way people, some people get shunned, moved to the side, politics, whatever. Mercedes is one thing because Mercedes made her name. She went around, she took that name around, and she get all these belts and everything, and she's doing her thing in AEW as well. I was the only person talking about Stephanie a year ago. Nobody else was talking about Stephanie a year ago, and you all know it. Everybody in the chat knows it. Everybody else knows. I was the first person of that name to come out of their mouth. Okay? Nobody was saying shit about her, and look at her now. So if we're not, granted, her creative is just, whatever. They just put her out there and it's blah, but they haven't beat her into the ground. So that's the important part. She didn't do no jobs or anything, right? So as far as that goes, as far as her being booked strong or whatever, and, just the people instantly taking a liking to her because because of everything I was telling you guys 3 years ago, however long I started talking about her. So that right there, that was the best career year, whatever the fans think, but just for an individual looking at their career trajectory, because before that, she was nobody. Mercedes was somebody. She was not really anybody. So she immediately became somebody. So that's why I would say, I don't care about the rankings. It's a Mark magazine anyway. It's a work even within a work. So the PWI is a joke anyway. It was just for fun. But if we're talking serious talk, that's the real number one woman as far as the wrestling business and what's happened.
Yeah, well, funny enough, Stephanie Vaquer or Vaquer, however you want to pronounce her name, she did lose.
I want to pronounce it the right way, the way it is. So Vaquer.
Vaquer, yeah. Okay, Vaquer.
Where do you get Vaquer?
Yeah, I hear a new person pronounce it like a new pronunciation every time somebody says her name, including Michael Cole. He fucking works there. He can't even get it right 2 times in a row.
So
what a bum.
He's got an ear.
The easy. I told you guys the easy way to remember is if you don't care how to pronounce her name, that's the correct way. Okay, care. You got to care. Okay, Vaquer. If you don't want to put the Spanish roll on it, that's up to you. But
Vaquer.
Yeah,
that's better. That's better.
Well, what I was gonna say, Vaquer did end up losing to, Mercedes Moné in the match. Funny enough, maybe that's how she got onto number 1 in this kayfabe top 250 women. But I find it interesting because the King of Farts, aka Ben Shlomo, says Maria Shafir had an amazing year doing nothing and considered a star. I actually agree with that. Also true. Yeah, I actually agree with that. So you could make an argument with her in some ways, but I can roll my eyes, J12. Come on now, you know that. I can. Anyway, but yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that came out. It didn't even come up in my social media for whatever reason, but it is what it is. Now let's get into some news. And apparently this is a backstage update on Zack Ryder's woo contract status in WWE, aka, of course, what's his name? Matt Cardona. So apparently Fightful Select reported that their sources stated that Cardona is currently not under contract with WWE. Those spoken to within WWE and Cardona himself confirmed that his appearance on Friday's show was just a one-off appearance for him. And in regards to WWE releasing his Zack Ryder merchandise for his return appearance, it was reported that a merchandising agreement between WWE and Cardona is currently in place. It was also reported that Cardona is currently scheduled to work at tonight's Impact tapings for TNA Wrestling at Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. And Cardona confirmed it via his Twitter. Vet, are you surprised?
I saw the picture of Triple H pointing.
That's
I
why
thought that
he
meant a
signed.
contract. So
Right,
I'm a
me
little
too.
confused, but I'm sure he'll eventually make his way there. He probably just needs to finish up the other 1,200 engagements that he that he had prior, including being the JCW champion currently.
That's
Which
true.
you want to talk about. You want to talk about conflict of interest as far as like who's got heat with who and whatnot. So yeah, it was an interesting surprise there. To see him on SmackDown. The people kind of cared, but I get the feeling that a lot of people are just like, who? Because he hasn't been there in so long. So, it was a little mixture there, like a little tempered reaction, but a good reaction. So I just assume that he's just going to eventually going to end up there. He just doesn't want to lock himself down right now. And this like sort of merchandising agreement seems like a good compromise for now. Like, oh yeah, sell the merch. I'll get my cut. I'll sell my Matt Cardona merch also concurrently. So I'm selling merch under two names. Making that money. Still got my figure business. All that stuff. So things are looking good for the Long Island Iced M or Z, whichever.
I like that. It's good. I mean, yeah, look, good on him. I mean, by all means, get your paper, man. And Prof, how do you feel about the Long Island Ice Z, or is it M, like the best in the world? The vet said.
I have two emotions on that because when the music of Zack Ryder played, the woo woo woo, I was the first immediate reaction, and no, this is no hating, and I'm not trolling. It's like, wow, the aura is gone. Matt Cardona, for all the years after he got released from WWE, built up his aura. And he was a belt collector. So, some people are not talking about him being a belt collector many years ago. But it goes along with my subject. Like, if you care about belt collecting, it works. No one cared when Matt Cardona was a belt collector years ago. But neither here nor there. But
he didn't carry him around at the same time as why. If only he had brought his little wagon, with his belts in it.
I'm just saying, for purposes of what we've always talked about, he was a belt collector too, and no one talked about it, and no one cared when he lost those belts. But again, it's just that's not even the subject, Jimmy. It's not that. But when he came on Friday, and when you heard the name Zack Ryder, like, all I'm thinking about was he was in a wheelchair and Kane threw him off the ramp. All I'm thinking about is, when I don't know which girl he liked on Raw, but John Cena took his girl and he had that mean mug face. So every image I remember of Zack Ryder, and remember, he won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania and then lost it to The Miz the next night on Raw. Those are my images. Those are my lasting images of Zack Ryder. So when he came out and being the mystery opponent for this, John Cena last time is now, when he turned his name into Zack Ryder, all I knew is he was going to lose. He was going to lose to LA Knight. It was clear sailing right there, Jimmy. I'm just saying. The aura absolutely is not there with Zack Ryder. The aura is there for Matt Cardona. He worked his image in the Indies. That was already disintegrated for the match he had with LA Knight. I'm sorry. It is what it is to me.
Definitely.
One small interjection is the only thing that made the match with LA Knight in doubt was, are they just going to rib LA Knight that bad? If you're in the know, that match did have a very exciting, like, I don't know who's going to win this type of atmosphere. We know who should have won it, and he did, but I'm just saying, the way fans talk about LA Knight's booking and all this other stuff, it does add a fun wrinkle to, will they or won't they? So there was that at the very least for us.
Boy, I realized
I would actually say that for me, they should have let Zack win just to continue that perception that we're all having with LA Knight. They dropped the ball. I know it's a one and done, according to reports, but that would have been so great. Just the one you just said.
It would have, but
they missed the ball on that.
But it's just like, they can't decide who they hate more. So they went with the hometown boy. When it was a coin toss, they just like, well, LA Knight, I guess, because they hate. They're still mad about him not letting him use the pool. Like they haven't forgotten. They'll never forget, and they never like Zack Ryder. So they'll bring him back just to I almost am positive they only brought him in just so he had to suffer the indignity of being called Zack Ryder and coming out to the old music with which he hates that music. So, that I could see them just only doing that. And then they're like, well, the bonus is the fans kind of like him, so that's nice for us, and we'll get the merch. But we really would just like him to suffer a little bit of embarrassment after trying to build his name from the ground up and all that hard work he did just for call Zack Ryder, and just so everybody could see we still got our thumb on you no matter where you go. I'm sure that was the enticing carrot at the end of the stick for WWE to make this move in the first place.
That's long-term pettiness storytelling from the WWE brass.
Absolutely.
Because, again, I will not dispute Jimmy and Vet. Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder, he built his brand on YouTube. He took advantage of all that stuff, the social media. And let's not forget that, because again, people rallied around him because of what he did on YouTube on his own. Nothing with WWE. WWE was petty enough to like, all right, you getting over on yourself? Nah, we'll throw you a bone for the fans, and then we'll take it away, and we'll really take it away. And they've done that sometimes. And again, like I said, I like Matt Cardona. I like what he's done in JCW and GCW and MLW and TNA and NXT. I like all that stuff. I even like the stuff he did with his wife on the indies, and of course with Statlander.
With Steph, it's great stuff, actually. Yeah, I think
great indie blood and gut stuff. No pun intended, but they did a lot of blood and gut stuff together. So I liked all that stuff. But again, Zack Ryder just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, somebody get me the Ghostbusters.
That was great. I love that, man. When he did that, that was awesome.
I have a question, and Jimmy, I'll ask you first. I mean, because you've been sitting there for a while, but so like, was Zack Ryder the first instance of this sort of era for the past decade or so where fans are like cheering the booking instead of the people? Like when he was trying to get over back then, and like they would cheer for him more than they would have normally because he really wasn't doing much. So since he's trying to do it on his own, and then the internet, YouTube stuff, and then the fans that watch that, which is a small percentage, but some of them were watching it, then they go to the shows, and then it kind of maybe spreads through, and then people are like, hey, we do like Zack Ryder. Like, was this one of the first instances that you can remember in this modern era of people just like rooting against the booking rather than cheering for or against the wrestler?
In terms of social media and the internet in general, yeah, I think he was the first one to actually branch out and get everyone rallying behind him, if you know what I mean, by doing his own thing and getting himself over, which at the time, WB, like the Professor said, absolutely hated the fact that he was doing. And he was getting punished for it, but the more they were going against him, the more the fans were rallying behind him. When you think about it, look at Dolph Ziggler, right, for example. The fans got to the point where WWE just kept putting him down, to the point where the fans were just over him. And also because of WWE and the way they were booking him. But with Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona, it sort of done the opposite effect, and everyone was just getting even more behind it. Now, me personally, I was never the biggest Zack Ryder fan. I can't stand Zack Ryder, and just hearing him come back and hearing, oh, radio, tell me everything you know. I'm just like...
Second version, right.
The remix, Jimmy.
The remix. Remix.
They needed the DJ Mass Effects remix of Zack Ryder. That's what it needed.
No, I'm not even going to bother with that friggin' song. But in all honesty, though, like, is it so outdated, that Zack Ryder character now? When you think of it, the song's outdated. They can't...
Nobody's talking about Jersey Shore anymore.
Yeah, nobody's talking about Jersey Shore anymore. But here he is, you know what I mean? He's with his same old shtick. Woo, woo, woo. It's like, oh, dude. Just, it's cringe. And I know he knows it. No pun intended. But, like... it is what it is. You know what I mean? I made
That's got to be the clip. That's the clip.
Clip it.
The fact that I popped him, that's got me like, whoa, I got him for once.
Oh, yeah.
But it's true, though. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's my take on it. I'm just happy that I popped the vet. That's all I care about.
So am I.
Yeah, wow. There you go. Touche. But anyway, guys, I mean, Prof, how do you feel about that in general? Like, even though you pretty much answered that, but do you feel if he does come back full time, will he stay with his Zack Ryder gimmick, or do you think they'll allow him to be Matt Cardona?
If they let him stay as Zack Ryder, keep him away from Chelsea Green. Just keep him far away, because then Chelsea Green will get rubbed the wrong way with that bullshit. If it's Matt Cardona, then let Chelsea Green come into the fold and let them be what they were on the Indies. So it's a catch-22.
Well, anyway, I'm still laughing at the vet laughing. Just thinking about it is just popping me already. But just getting into other news, that was enough for Zack Ryder Cardona talk.
It's way too much for Zack Ryder. And speaking
Way
of pop, cold-blooded.
Well, what did he say? Oh shit!
He said, "Here, take this money," is what he said.
You don't get that. I wish I had the cold-blooded, but instead, you're gonna get a. Can you hear that? There we go. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the $5 super sticker, cold-blooded man. We really appreciate it every time.
That's $5 worth of muffins from Cold Blooded. Thank you, Cold Blooded.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Isn't it like $5 for a muffin these days? I mean,
yeah, one muffin.
I'm serious.
From Mindy's.
That's how much we pay. Yeah. From me, yeah, exactly. From Mindy's in Chicago. But anyway, where was I? As far as other news goes, there's not really much going on, man. Well, like, does anyone care about the Rascals right now? I know they're back in TNA. Yeah, there's no point. I'm going to leave it for you guys.
Well, let me just say this, and then we could get into like the wreckage the way it's supposed to be, Jimmy and Vet. I mean, over the weekend, Jimmy, I don't know if you want to call this news, but
actually,
Vet,
I know what you're going to talk about.
I want to talk about like what the dirt sheets, Vet, and Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful, they were really hammering this down before TNA's Turning Point pay-per-view. Like, what's going on with Mike Santana and all this stuff? Like, he did not return phone calls. And, for the fans in the community, we kind of figured it was kind of a work. For me, I look at it from two ways. I don't know about TNA's contract status. And Mike Santana could have been on a 1-year deal. And, he lost the title prematurely. A lot of people say prematurely. But the point of it was Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp and his people were working diligently to prove, and they were like, they even said in their tweet, it was like, wow, what a disrespect. You trying to work us to like say we're reporting this news that Mike Santana is not at Turning Point and all this stuff. They were working around the clock just to prove TNA, trying to do a storyline for their TV purposes, maybe pay-per-view purposes. So guys, the floor is yours. What say you about that? Again, the dirt sheets are trying to prove a point where the wrestling company is trying to do an angle.
I actually don't have anything to say about this yet because I am TNA free until usually the wee hours of Monday morning, anytime like right before I actually have to record the Impact Attack, which is every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, with Brandon. So I completely forgot Turning Point was on. I heard something about NXT people trying to do an invasion bullshit thing again, which, God, done with that.
Twice.
So done with that. So I actually don't really know. I heard that Santana already dropped the belt. I heard that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, that's pretty funny. And then, so like I'm picking up little pieces here and there, but I really haven't followed TNA's programming to even know if what you're talking about, them running an angle and the sheets trying to ruin the angle or whatever. I really have no opinion or knowledge on it yet. So I'll have to reserve any comments or judgment until such time as I'm properly informed at this point.
Very fair. Jimmy, what about you?
Very fair.
You kind of.
Well, with me, I mean, I think he's signed with WWE, surely. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the rumor, right?
Right, he's going to be, but you got to still do your TNA run and maybe commitments and stuff like that. Like I said, I don't know about the contract status of TNA because that was one of the reasons I think Scott D'Amore left TNA initially, because he did not like the cost cutting from the new regime of TNA management and all that stuff. So that's why he left and did his own Major League Maple Leaf Wrestling and stuff like that. But again, like they made a conscious effort. And again, I'm not mad about that, but they made a conscious effort to try to ruin an angle they were trying to do. Was the angle good, in my opinion, guys? No, I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of stupid because, again, just like Vet was, he's like, I'm confused why they let, Mike Santana chase the belt for almost a whole goddamn year. He should have won it in New York. I know Vet will save this for the Impact Attack, but he should have won it in New York, but they saved it for Bound for Glory. They went dark for 4 weeks, then finally go back live, and his first title defense, he gets jumped by NXT, and then Frankie Kazarian cashes in his money in the bank, quote unquote. He wins the title, and then on the pay-per-view was the next day on Friday, so they did that angle, and then of course NXT. When you have an NXT invasion, Jimmy and Vet, with Lexis King leading the way, I guess nobody will take it seriously. So it's what it is on that.
No,
That's
and
bad.
the other thing is, I've been saying, if you've been following the Impact Attack, not even just the Impact Attack, whatever show I'm on here, I've said it, I'm sure, because these guys pop up in the news from time to time. I don't care about Mike Santana really, like as a performer, as a person, whatever. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, and I don't, nothing personal against Mike Santana. I'm just talking about Mike Santana, the TV persona, whatever, like not really that interesting to me. But even with that being said, I've been saying like TNA has been sabotaging him, Joe Hendry, anybody that has any sort of a spark of usefulness for that, let's be honest, nothing happened in company. Even if like the only thing that ever happened for them is this WWE partnership. They've just been floundering for years and years and years, and even since I've been covering, I've watched them start at the bottom and then go lower, like as far as like the programming, the creative, they if they have anything going on for them, they'll find a way to screw it up. So, burying Joe Hendry and Mike Santana, right? I mean, and Moose, but that's beside the point. Because Moose looks like he's staying, but if these other guys aren't, that's like, you got a partnership with WWE and you are definitely the small part of the partnership where they benefit almost in no way from working with you. And you're going to take the merchandise that they want and you're going to damage it before you hand it over to them. I mean, does that make sense to anybody?
Nope.
I don't know why you would do this. You're 100% right, Professor. The time to pull the trigger on Santana was New York. It doesn't matter if it's not the biggest show of the year. That was just the time. But they've been working on making sure that nobody there is over. Even to the point of Kalani Jordan just coming in and making a mockery of the Knockouts division with her no charisma having self, like actually on there doing promos and stuff. Like, really? You should have known better than that.
Hey, Kalani Jordan is her. That's what she said on NXT television. She is.
I wonder where she got that from. I wonder what version of somebody else's catchphrase that is. But you got a guy that's, she got a guy that she's dating that's not even in a position of leverage himself. He's got to really work hard to make it, and he's a mid talent too. So, the point is, what I'm trying to say is I don't understand what TNA has been doing for the past several years that I've been watching them, but they definitely have no idea what talent is, what a storyline is, what booking is. They don't know what they have, what to do with it. So I'm not surprised at any of this stuff that's been happening, in terms of like their ability to do it. But I am still just a little bit amused that they can keep finding new ways to get worse. Because you would think they would have to bottom out at some point, and in spite of that, just because of this WWE rub, they've got more attendance and more financial figures and stuff like that. But imagine if they were actually hot. They would have filled up that empty ass Bound for Glory. They set a record in that building, but that building record is probably a much, much higher than what they actually set. looked like they could have done 2 times that amount of people. That just goes to, when I watch Bound for Glory, for anybody that wants to say anything positive about TNA, I'll just put a bullet in it right here. Bound for Glory hard cam seats were empty. So fuck what anybody else has to say about TNA's prosperity. If you got hard cam seats open on your biggest show ever, you're a joke.
But Jericho did say it looked like WrestleMania, though. Well, not technically.
Yeah, it looked like the WrestleMania they had in COVID.
That's cold.
It looked like the WrestleMania where Drew McIntyre won the belt.
Well, same era, wasn't it? Anyway, that's cold, man. That's vet just went bang.
The truth hurts, Jimmy, and the vet's got to tell the truth.
Oh.
Either here or on the Impact Attack or next level. He tells you the truth, guys. You know that.
He does. He very much does. But that was oh man, that's a good one. Anyway, do you guys? I'm gonna admit, before we get into the wreckage, I'm gonna admit I popped when I read what Rey Mysterio said about Eddie Guerrero. I'm sure you guys know it was his anniversary of his passing this past week, and what Rey Mysterio wrote to Eddie Guerrero, and I believe he placed it on his grave or something like that. It was pretty cool, man. So I don't know if you guys want to hear it or not, but if you guys do, I'll read it out because it popped to me. Put it that way. He just reflects on Eddie's passing.
Sure.
Sorry, Vic?
I mean, why not?
Yeah. I'll check this out. So Ray says this. He says, and now it's 20 years later. Oh, sorry. He also released this on the Players Tribute, by the way, paying tribute to the life and legacy of Guerrero and the impact he had on his life. And he goes on to say, and now it's 20 years later, and I wish so bad that you could be here to see Dom's own wrestling career take flight. Honestly, it wasn't the smoothest flying at first. He debuted in WWE about 5 years ago, and he's writing back as all came back if you count the custody match. And Rey Mysterio's baby boy was still very much the character he was playing. No mask. He goes, too handsome in brackets again. He goes, but other than that, he was the same clean-cut babyface type I've seen for most of my career, and he held his own. Like his first match ever was at SummerSlam in 2020 against Seth Rollins, one of the best guys on the roster, and I think Dom surprised people that night and started to earn respect from there. But at the same time, he wasn't quite hitting the next level, you know what I'm saying? And I can already picture you reading this, saying, we Thor, way up in those clouds, and you're doing that pose where you've got your elbows in and your palms open, and you're giving me that fucking smirk shrug because you know what I'm about to say. Dominic wasn't fully clicking as Rey Mysterio's baby boy, so he did what I'm 100% sure you would have told him to do. He turned heel and basically became Eddie Guerrero's demon little boy, and that changed everything. And when I say you would approve of who Dom has become, Eddie, it's an understatement. You would love it because the wrestler he is now, it feels like a love letter to so many of the things that made you so special. He has the presentation down perfect, the sleazy no offense stash, that terrible no offense mullet, that ugly no offense jewelry and clothes. He's got that snake, that shit eating grin. He's got the innate ability to play off different people like you did with me and Batista and China and so many others. And I'll tell you the number one trait of Dom, that's a love letter to you, Eddie. And I bet you already can guess what I'm talking about. To say here too, the worse he behaves, the more they cheer. He put that in bold capital letters. And as you know, it's harder to pull this off than it looks. To be a bastard, no offense, who the fans want to embrace, flaws and all, because even at your worst, they can see something human at the center of it all. But that's what Dom has been able to achieve. Monsieur also gave his thoughts about no matter how much time passes by, he'll always view himself as Guerrero's little brother. And he said finally at the end, he goes, when I publish this letter on Thursday, it'll be 20 years to the day since you passed, November 13th, 2005. It's hard to believe, and it feels so unfair sometimes just knowing how much life I've gotten to live in those years. You didn't even get to see 40. That's still painful to think about. Me, on the other hand, I turned 50 last December. And he's like, nah, I can already see the evil grin on your face hearing that. 50, 50. Oh, hey, no. You old. I know. We thought it's true. But I'm running to you now, and I swear I could live another 50 years. And then when it comes to our friendship, I'll still be little bro. I'm forever your little bro, and you're forever my big brother. That's pretty touching, man.
Very, very
pretty
touching.
good.
You just see it from there. I just wish that Dom would have just went into it and retort back, keep my father's name out your tribute right there. That would have been great. But again, it is a loving tribute to his big brother. You know, again, a lot of people miss Eddie Guerrero. We wish that Eddie Guerrero would have been alive today to at least enjoy certain people. We would already be booking right now, guys, what Eddie Guerrero could be doing and, you know, enjoying him. So, again, a loving tribute. I thank you, Jimmy, for at least doing that. I didn't even know that he did that. So, thank you.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. No, I thought I had to, man, because when I read it, I thought that was great. Vet, anything to say before we get into sifting?
Well, you know that I haven't been the kindest person to Dominic over the time. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only dissenting voice or whatever.
Yeah, I said it before
Jimmy
everyone else
was the one. Jimmy hopped on the bandwagon and refused to jump off, and then everybody else jumped on after him. I'm still not on it, but
I called it 2 years ago. I said Dom was going to be a heavyweight champion in 2025. I didn't know it was going to be AAA, but at least I got my right.
Right. True. He's got the belt before he actually got the weight. But I will say this. So like all that being said, you know, everything I said about Dominic, you know, but after hearing all that, you know, it really makes me think like I was right 100% because he's just coasting off of Eddie Guerrero and his real dad. So like he really would have absolutely nothing without these guys. And this beautiful piece that Ray wrote just crystallizes that in a way that just makes it so obvious that Dominic has nothing to offer other than people remembering way more over and better talent.
How dare you, man? How dare you? It's in the genes. It's hereditary. Passed on from father to son. That is the legacy that Eddie has given to Dom. Yeah. That's second generation. We haven't seen second generation, you know, passed down this great, this worthy. Rey Mysterio almost buried his own supposed son, but the truth came out, and talent precedes that. And Dom is the guy right now.
Not since Eric Watts have we seen. So, you know, let me just say, like, we're in the era now where, like, David Flair, if he were wrestling now, he could be that bad and people would cheer for him, you know? Like, this is what wrestling has come to. Like, we can take people with no talent, and as long as the only thing that Dominic has brought to professional wrestling is dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets. That's it. There's nothing else. Everything else is somebody else's that he's just doing an ironically bad job of conveying to us. And we like that because we remember Eddie Guerrero. So we enjoy it, ironically. We know that, you know, Rey Mysterio is the real talent in the family. So we enjoy Dom, ironically. And that's just where we are now. So it's a commentary on the whole state of wrestling.
I just want to say this, Sonic the Hedgehog. I can see where you're coming from too, bro. Like he says, people used to tell me Kofi is too small to be WWE champ, but now here we are with Dom. Nah, I'm good on wrestling for now, and I get it. I get where he's coming from totally. When you think about pro wrestling, right, you don't think of Dom in the sense of a pro wrestling and whatnot. So I get where he's coming from, but it's pro wrestling, dude. It's subjective. No one's really right or wrong. It's all about what you like and what you feel is good. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah. Also, Kofi Kingston is really, really good.
That's
the other thing,
right? That's
and he didn't have a dad or two dads to lean on. You know, he had to do it his own way.
But he had to fake a Jamaican accent just to get over first. Come on,
that was fun.
Well, he didn't have to. He didn't have to, but he somehow did. I would look at that as even more of a plus because that's something he had to overcome. You know.
Yeah. Well, Zane says, why are you mentioning David Flair when Charlotte is right there? And he goes on to say, because you don't know professional wrestling. Come on, Zane.
I don't even know who he's talking to because he's always several minutes behind.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, yeah, I wasn't talking about
Do
David
not,
Flair.
let's close this out. Do not ever put Dominic in the
David
conversation of
Flair.
Eric Watts, David
He
Flair,
started.
Richie Steamboat. I can name some bad ones right now.
What?
Oh,
Let's
Richie
go with that.
Steamboat.
Yeah, Richie
Whatever
Steamboat.
I'll
happened?
get to that.
He never got out of Florida, man. Did he get hurt? Did he get like a career-ending something?
That's
Well,
what they want. That's what
Thanks
they
to
want.
Macho Man, you talking about?
That's what they want you to believe.
No. Well,
Oh Jesus. Anyway, well, that was that. That was the news. Everything else is just nothing really. We spoke about all the main stuff that happened during the week. So in saying that, it's time to put the gloves on. I wish I had bandages though, guys, because I would have been wearing all bandages and stuff. I was really wanting to do that, but unfortunately, I didn't have any. So yeah, let's see it because we got sifting, vet.
all right. Well, you know what it is. It's blood and guts, no surprise. That's your Dynamite episode. It's basically pay-per-view quality, right here on a weekday. So,
But a week before a
I saw
pay-per-view,
that face you made, Professor. I'm just saying what they think they're doing, not necessarily what we're actually getting. But this is the thing. Like, I have to be honest with you guys. I'm so glad the Professor's here, first of all, because I can imagine that at least at times he watched this. But as far as like these cage matches, these violent matches, these things where you're promoting violence and all these other things, and then you look over at the WWE with their little corny ass, like every year they have a war games, whether they need to or not, and people are just teaming up consistently, randomly around this time of year and just forming teams just so that they can have a big cage match that's also going to have a bunch of garbage in it and all this other stuff. Less blood, perhaps, but just as silly, just as pointless, just as nobody asked for this. Like, this is just that time of year now. And I just, as I'm putting this on to watch it, I'm just realizing like, I can't, Tennessee Couponer said it, like, at least the vet's honest. Well, I have to tell you, like, I can't actually just sit there and watch these things go on. And each one goes on for like an hour, basically, all told with entrances and everything else. So I completely checked out of this week's Dynamite. It was on, I heard stuff, but I can't tell you anything that happened in these matches other than the finishes. And I only know that just because, like once I heard a bell ring, like I might look and see what was happening or something, because I'm trying to imagine. I can't even imagine people sitting here wanting to watch this. Like, people were excited for it. They waited all week for it. The build up worked for them and they tuned in. And apparently, according to the numbers, 600,000 or so people showed up, which is up quite a bit from their last Dynamite. So whoever's still watching on, cable television that's still being, recorded or whatever, the data, I mean, some more people did show up for this. But God, like, it's just so nothing to me. So with that in mind, like, as I'm going to turn over this first match to you, I also have right here, if you could see this here, this is this is a tray of muffins here. So while you guys are able to eloquently, magnanimously, effervescently break these type of things down and tell the people what you witnessed that I just could not bring my eyeballs to absorb, I will enjoy these delicious red velvet muffins. Ooh. I will set you up by saying that it's ladies first. Okay, so we're going to have that to talk about. I noticed as they were going over the rules, they said for the first 5 minutes, 2 women will enter. And then I'm sure you guys caught this gem, which they repeated like at least twice. Every few minutes, another person will come in. What the fuck do you mean every few minutes? You don't even know how long the interval is between this makes it sound like you're just sending somebody when you feel like it.
It's supposed to be 90 seconds or 2 minutes. It's already in the bylaws of War Games matches. But we
yes,
you're right. They didn't really say that. So you could just
and even if you weren't gonna time it out exactly 2 minutes, you didn't have to say you didn't know how long. You didn't have to embarrass yourself on national television any more than you were already about to with this garbage match. But I can't believe they said every few minutes, and then the announcer said it. Like Justin Roberts said it, the announcer said it at least one more time. Like, what do you mean few? Okay.
Can I say something while you chomp down some muffins and Jimmy just?
Well, this is now entirely your guys' floor to discuss amongst yourselves as I sit back.
Before we talk about the ladies' blood and guts match, Nights, I just want to say one thing because it's not hating. And I will be objective because I'm the most objective man in this IWC, YWC, PWC here. But I want to say one thing. Will these blood and guts matches be better than War Games? Absolutely, because of the blood and shit like that. And they deliver what they advertise and all that stuff. But that's neither here nor there, guys. The point is, on two fronts, AEW every month with the pay-per-views, and usually if you count them down, Nights, and tell me if I'm lying here, but from January to right now, including a pay-per-view, you get 2 matches with blood spots a lot of times. So the blood concept really loses its meaning. It loses its luster. I think one person on the chat, Jimmy, if you have it, gave reference to Carlos Colon. Like Carlos Colon knew when to do blood. He did it in main event style matches, main event feuds with Hercules Ayala. But when you have blood every month, every pay-per-view, multiple matches, it just loses its luster for me, in my humble opinion. That's one thing. 2, and this goes to Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley, for this Death Riders run with the belt and without the belt, if people are calling Jon Moxley the MVP, guys, Jimmy, this motherfucker, I'm sorry to say this, every match has been sponsored by Home Depot. Because whenever he goes to Home Depot, he picks out kendo sticks, straws, pitchforks, a bed of nails, and uses it in every goddamn match. And there is no coincidence in this War Games. He used all that in one goddamn match. So what makes him the MVP of gimmicks? He's not an MVP of gimmicks. It's just like Vet making fun of Dominic Mysterio. If you just need a crutch to get you over, then are you really over? No, you're not. You're just really not. Jimmy, what say you?
Oh, quick,
What about me?
Jimmy, before you just one quick interjection.
Please.
Before you go. Yeah. Jon Moxley has not done anything different, exactly like the professor has just laid out. Whether you put 2 cages, 2 rings around what he does makes absolutely no difference. Right? And furthermore, we're going to see as we go on this show, like, not only is this gimmick watered down in a sense, but I'm going to lay out for you how ridiculous this whole concept is of just, we got a gimmick match. Oh, we got another gimmick match, right? So go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, well, I'm mostly confused about Moxie, but we'll get to that later on, and I'll tell you why when we get to the main event of this actual episode of Dynamite. But as far as the females go, man, like, I don't mind color, don't get me wrong, but these girls were bleeding like something else, man. It was just way too, they were rough, man. Like, some of the stuff was rough, like crazy.
Red Skye.
She looked great walking
immediately.
She was out.
Nobody had to wait for blood. She was busted open in the first 2 minutes before anybody else got out there. Crimson mask on, Dark Skye.
Yeah, it was bad though. It was savage, man. And a lot of these women, and see, the thing is, for me, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't hear nothing. I watched the show right before we're doing this show, so I'm more fresh, right, about it instead of watching it on the day. But as far as I've seen, I haven't seen many people. AEW menopause. I like that, Zane. Just quietly, that's a good one. But that's great. But in all seriousness, no one was really talking about the male side of Blood and Guts compared to the female. All I was hearing was all about the females and what happened there compared to the males, which is kind of interesting. And you brought up, Prof, about the timing of everyone coming out. I don't know if you noticed, but the male one, they were going even quicker, dude. They were rushing it, if you noticed. It felt like every minute they were coming out.
The women was better than the men's because in the men's, we'll talk about this. By the time it was like five against 4 and 5 against 5, it dragged on. And even you could tell from the crowd, it was almost dead. They were just waiting for the spots to happen. The women, why people are saying the women's War Games or Blood and Guts match is better was because it's the first. So we cannot deny that. It was the first. Exactly. And now every woman gets to showcase her talents. And you talked about Red Skye, Vet, and there were spots where I think it was what was it, Julia Hart and Thekla going through getting out of the cages, which was a nice spot. And the psychology of what they did at the end, if we want to say this, where Toni Storm, well, it was kind of funny because the way they kind of like took out like 3 of the other girls of the baby faces and focused on 2 of them, I kind of liked it. But I guess the logic, there was a lot of logic gap just to get to that. The problem with both of the men's and women's Blood and Guts matches that I had, how many nights, was this cage with a roof is supposed to keep everybody inside. But most of the shit that people pop for happen outside. People falling through tables, Darby going through a fire table. So what's the sense? What's the point of having a cage to keep all the combatants and all that having a big payoff happening when you're going to do spots on the outside and on top of the cage and shit like that? So it is what it is. But the women's match, the way they ended it, I liked it. But then to get to that point, and I'll say this, and Vet, no hating, but Mercedes Moné did not need to be in this match. It made no goddamn sense. I think it was just name value alone. For her being 13, 14, 15 belts, Moné, you could have replaced her with another woman in the AEW women's locker room. You could have had. You did not need her. You did not need Kris Statlander. You did not need 6 against 6. You could have done just fine with the Triangle of Madness, Megan Bayne, and Marina Shafir. You did not need Mercedes Moné. That would have been fine. I think they just added it for name value, and it is what it is.
I mean, let's be honest, though, Prof. Do you feel like did these women really hate each other that bad to the point where they had to be in a War Games type of match? Like, come on. I mean, I don't buy it enough.
While the Vet's eating those red velvet muffins very good, he just said it. Like, there was, when you have War Games with less heat, you know what I mean? The women were bunched up together. That was like week after week that they were putting together, just like the WWE side of the War Games. At least on the men's side, again, I'm objective, Jimmy. The men, at least that's been 9 months in the making. The best fighters are the antagonists, the conglomeration of the heroes, and Darby's the captain and the Enigma. That was fine. But at least that's long-term storytelling. To get there, the women was just all lumped together. That's the difference for me.
And before we continue, Liz says, ladies, Hayter is off to see Blackphone 2. Have a great show. Thank you, Liz. And we're sorry that you're leaving us, man. Yeah, damn. But tell us how the movie is. Obviously, I'm sure she'll probably enjoy it, I assume.
Yeah, Mercedes didn't need to be in it. She got nothing else to prove. But then
it's funny that she had him in there, though. Who was with the table, with everyone with the belt and stuff. That kind of made me laugh. But
I mean, it's also for, I mean, she gets so much shit from people. It's like, if she wasn't in it, people would be like, oh, you don't want to be in it. You don't want to get dirty, even though, she's like, I was in attendance for the best women's cage match I've ever seen, which was Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks at Hell in a Cell.
Oh, did you go to that?
Yeah. That's the famous one that everybody hated because of the Seth Rollins and the Fiend match where they stopped the match.
Jesus Christ, I remember that clearly.
And thank God those women got to go first, because nobody would have had time for anything else on the rest of the show if they had done that any earlier. But so, anyways, just so that everybody knows, what the professor was alluding to is that Mina Shirakawa was being bludgeoned right in front of Toni, so she had to quit for her. This dramatic storytelling of, oh, I love you so much that I will, rather than see this continue. It's like, why the fuck are any of you even here? There's no issue. There was no issue before this. Like if an issue centered around Toni Storm as somebody, or Mina Shirakawa and somebody, or Toni and Mina versus two people. But no, it was just, well, we have to do this, so here's the people who are going to do it.
Yeah,
that's exactly what you're talking about, Jimmy. Why is this even happening? And then, like Charles says, so where do you go now? Well, you don't go anywhere now because it didn't have anywhere to start. It's just random.
But why do it a week?
I think where you go now, guys, and you can retort back on this, is the story with Mina and Toni probably is the analogy for the biggest payoff. Probably they will be the inaugural AEW Women's Tag Team Champions. So seeing all that, you better have
of the females right now, man. Right. That's what it is.
Yeah, they're the lesbian couple, but again, for the love that Toni sacrificed for the heels to win, then you get the payoff of the AEW Women's Tag Team Championship. And I'll say another thing here, and the thing that I don't like, and this is not even about these two matches, this is just about the generation itself, guys. It's just like, even Triple H started this with NXT War Games. It's like the lack of psychology and the lack of imagination is like, do we really need tables and thumbtacks and all this shit? It defeats the purpose of the War Games or Blood and Guts concept. These women, when it was Skye Blue coming out, she had a chair. When it was Willow Nightingale, she had a chair or a garbage can. When it was Thekla, she probably had a kendo stick. When it was Jamie Hayter, she probably had thumbtacks and shit like that. And Mercedes Moné, oh God, at least the belts were used. She used them as weapons.
And she passed them around too.
She passed them around to the heels. True. That just shows you she don't give two shits. The TBS. Well, it would have been better if she. Yeah, wait, don't touch the TBS title. That's
right, especially with Bayne.
But touch this lesbian heavyweight championship. You could have that. Use that as a weapon and shit like that. Take the Arabian Women's Championship. I don't need that one, but don't touch my TBS championship. That's gold. But again, weapons are needed. Again, cheap pops, cheap thrills. It is what it is, And there was a lot of mistiming on the women's side. There was a little bit of botchamania, but again,
that's why botcha flop.
No. But I'll give the girls a little bit of credit. They were probably nervous. They were trying to showcase their talent. So
I'm not over-tried even.
Right, they were over trying it. You're right, Jimmy. They were over trying it, but it's not me knocking them. I give them A for effort for trying to they want to prove that they can hang with the guys. This could have been a main event quality match and all that stuff. So. But there were botches, there were timing issues, but it is what it is.
That's expected. It's your first time.
They worked 3 times as hard as the guys on that.
Right.
Did anyone do an Arabian Women's Championship facebuster to pay tribute to Sabu or
no?
Anything?
Unfortunately, we didn't get that, but we did get a chair throw, like a Sabu chair throw. Wasn't it when Toni jumped in? She threw the chair towards Bayne, I think, run into her head. When she jumped into the ring, Prof?
I don't know.
It's hard when you have a lot of weapons, you just don't know which one are being used. But the ones that you remember, like I said, Mercedes Moné, at least there was a reason. There was storytelling for having 13 titles. She used it as weapons for Blood and Guts.
She's smart, dude. She knows the hate she's going to get, and that's how she's wrecking everybody, man. All the marketers, including a lot of podcasts I've listened to that should know better. Which is hilarious to me, man. They don't know better. And they don't fucking know better, bro. And it drives me nuts.
It's so funny.
I'm hearing people that know she should know saying, it's so wrong that she wants every belt. Like she wants it. Like she wants every freaking belt. It's like and I'm just like, dude, it's the heat. She's doing it for heat. You know what I mean? You're falling for it right now.
Right.
She's doing exactly what you want.
They're trying to find new ways to get heat while everybody's cheering for furniture. And then when people succeed at it, like, I don't know, a Mercedes or a Ricochet or whatever,
right?
The people, they don't even understand what's happening to them. They don't even realize what's happening to them. They don't know why they're so mad all of a sudden, And
they're
or like getting mad at Seth Rollins' clothes. Like, why does he got to dress like that? Like, wow, you really, wow. This is wow. Wow. Amazing.
we can't have logical discussions of critiquing when it's just, oh, I just don't like it for that purpose. Yeah, it's really
Stupid.
it's really elementary school trolling right there.
But
Again,
it is. It really is.
yeah, this is why you come to HMG, guys. You get critical thinking here about certain things that we question. Not that we hate, we're not going to hate it, but there's certain things that we question on the logic and stuff like that. And again, I like where Thekla and Jamie Hayter got out of the cage. But again, if I like that spot, why do I don't like the stuff outside? Again, you got to pick your poison. 6'7", guys. But it neither here nor there. But you pick your poison on what you like and what you don't like. The things that were too easy to call, and like Vet said, Jimmy, it was like blood and 2 minutes of blood, and it was gushing blood.
Yeah,
the match went on for 45 minutes or so, but if Skye Blue bleeds in 90 seconds and it's gushing this much, again, this is War Games. This is blood and guts. You don't need to do it in 90 seconds. Let it build as she's having her head run through the cage. Let it build where her face is in glass. And speaking of glass, there is something I did like. I like when Marina Shafir just looked at glass and just said, fuck it. She has no socks. She has no shoes on. She just stopped her feet and just kicked Mina Shirakawa in the stomach with glass in her foot. I liked it. It calls for effect. I like you use the props right. You use the gimmicks right. Again, there's certain things you can like about the props, but again, it's cheap pops because of that. The cage should sell itself for being violent, for being deadly, for being dangerous. And the women are coming into this. But when you use the props, it defeats the purpose.
Yeah, I
John
agree.
McClane would be proud of that glass spot.
Oh, 100%. But you know what? It shows that Marina Shafir is starting to get it, though, man. I bet you no one told her to do that. I think she improvised right there and on the spot.
No,
and thought
somebody
about
definitely told her to do that.
You think so? Oh, man, I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's smarter than that.
But you know what?
I could be wrong about it.
Yeah, we've talked about this quite a bit. Not as long as they went on, but after about a good 3/4 of an hour at the very bare minimum of people just, a melee of people beating the shit out of each other with everything they can get their hands on and blood flying everywhere and friends and lovers getting tortured and, all this dramatic, violence and everything. For a nice change of pace, the next thing we see is the Don Callis family beating up Jungle Park or whatever they're called, like in the back. So not only did we just see a brutal beating for 45 minutes, but here's another brutal beating just to switch things up, just for a change of pace. We'll just do that real quick. And then for another change of pace,
I love this.
because we want to keep this show a variety. We don't want people to come in and just feel like they're seeing the same thing over and over again. Hang Person Adam Page versus Powerhouse Hobbs in a Falls Count Anywhere match, because fuck it. So these guys have a Falls Count Anywhere match. And apparently, Anywhere was off a balcony through a table. So, I don't know. I didn't time this one out. I don't know how long it went. But I'm quite sure that, it was a little bit challenging, even for the hardcore fans, to stay up for this the entire time, knowing that they just watched 45 minutes of it and they're about to see another hour of it later. So what's your assessment, Jimmy, of this Falls Count Anywhere match before we get to the
I just want to
post-match?
point out before you get into a prof, especially, man, did you guys see the spot on the table where he backdropped Hobbs and he landed on his butt, man? He literally bounced from his butt. And if you pay attention right after that, he ran to the chair, man, like to sit down on it. I reckon his collarbone copped a beating at that spot, man. I'm telling you, it looked bad to me.
His tailbone was bruised, definitely from that spot.
100%.
But also, again, remember, prep your gimmicks, guys, because Powerhouse Hobbs' leg almost went through the announce table.
Oh, my God.
He could have just easily fucked up his hamstring, his quads, going through that table because it wasn't prepped right. But, for the Falls Count Anywhere, Jimmy and Vet, at least they were telling the story, building towards full gear for Samoa Joe. But I didn't know I did not know that Samoa Joe had enough pull to say, lower that cage again. Lower the cage. before everybody's favorite jobber now, not Hobbs, what the fuck is his name? Hook. Oh, I'm
Hook.
calling Hobbs Hook. Hook and Eddie Kingston come out to save the day and shit like that. But again, with
that annoys me too, by the
way. At least for the Falls Count Anywhere guys, there was no blood. It was just, they went through some tables and stuff. I was happy to see no blood. I popped for no blood. I can't believe it. And it's not even
they kept their guts inside, safely inside where they belong. No blood. Well, I'll just tell you this. So afterwards, of course, there's going to be a schmoz with the ops and New York shit coming out and everything, like Professor said, lower the cage, whatever, all this stuff. But Hank Person gets on the microphone and says that at Full Gear, he wants Samoa Joe in a steel cage, just for a change of pace. We don't want to repeat anything too much. For a nice change of pace, we'll have a steel cage match at Full Gear. No one will be tired of steel cages by the end of tonight at all.
And to be fair, as the prof says, I just want to say, to be fair, it was Joe, like he said to Joe, if you wanted a match in the cage, Joe, all you had to do was ask. And that's how he set up, obviously, the cage match, because obviously Joe lowering the cage, I guess he thought, well, geez, you want a cage match? Let's do it. But what I don't understand before we move on, guys, why is an event like this a week before a pay-per-view? That's not how you sell your pay-per-view.
The hell it isn't. Are you kidding me? What works better than hot shotting? More hot shotting. The hottest of shots.
God.
We're going to give you two double cage matches in one night, and we're going to advertise a future one steel cage match. Jesus Christ. So that is a proven tactic that has never put any promotion out of business in the history of time. We don't have to worry about this one because we know that the coffers are bottomless. But I'm just saying, of course it's going to be a big deal. You know what else is a big deal? Tony Schiavone.
I would say this before you keep your thought there, because remember, at least we have to be fair here within the community and all these podcasts that talk about this. Theme Dynamites technically get better grades from all the mark cards out there, Vet. I know you don't, with mark card logic, this is what they do.
It's Jimmy that hates the Theme Dynamites.
I hate it too, man.
Most mark card podcasts love Theme Dynamite. They love the Blood and Guts. They love the Fright Night Dynamite, and they love all the other bullshit behind it. But ratings-wise, it does better than regular Dynamites, which have no logic, no theory, no story, no continuation, no continuity, and better, more hot-shotting, if you will. But again, these are themed Dynamites, and they call it a pay-per-view quality for itself. But for Hang Person to be on weekly devalues himself, because he is the main eventer. He's the guy carrying the company. He's the greatest AEW champion in the world. He doesn't need a match to build to another match. It's just easy promos. It's one-on-one right there. Promo 101. Just do some promos. Have the ops come out, try to surround them and shit like that. It might be simplistic, guys, but it sells itself. You don't need to have him have a match with Hobbs. Well, he's trying to weaken him, Professor. I get that part. But then you're going from one extreme to another. He went from a Falls Count Anywhere match, and then next week he's going into a steel cage match. He's going to 2 payoffs with 2 different people. That's the thing.
He's a fighting champion, Prof. Come on.
Yeah, he's the greatest champion. Tony Schiavone reminds us all the time.
Also, what would have happened if Hobbs won? If we're looking at this as if it was real, right? So Hobbs wins, and now what? So Samoa Joe's like, well, I guess I got to take you out. I guess they don't think about those type of things. And what did they ever even mention anything that was preventing the ops from interfering from the start? Because they could have guaranteed a Hobbs win if Samoa Joe just sat on Adam Page for 10 seconds. Or just held him down. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It doesn't have to be 10 seconds because this wasn't a last man standing match. It's just a normal Falls Count Anywhere match. So, they could have just held him down and Hobbs could have pinned him, but then what? So, I don't know, man. But let's just move on to Tony Schiavone, who's going to intro Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Oh wait, hold on. Before you talk about this, as much as biased as I am, what Vet's going to talk about, I'm not going to retort. I'm not going to say he's wrong. This was bullshit. And I blame the writing. I blame the creative team. I do not blame the talent on this. It's but unfair. It's just the bullshit segment. Go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I was just going to let everybody know that the Dragon was out there. Ric Flair was promised to be out there, but was not out there.
What happened? I could have sworn that was.
Oh, they said it, but we should have all known that was going to happen for one reason or another.
Right.
Then FTR and Big Stoke interrupt, of course. They interrupt the Dragon, and they come out, and they take a long way towards threatening to beat up Ricky Steamboat until Brodito had to come out and save Ricky from a beating. Well, he does get some offense in, too, for the fans that want to see 70-year-old Ricky Steamboat throw some hands. He threw a little bit of hands, and yeah, I don't really have anything to say on it one way or the other because, you know, even though I agree that you know, it was nothing that anybody needed to see, I was also just like, well, this is just another thing I have to sit through until we get to the next thing that I'm going to have to sit through. So don't really have an opinion on it one way or the other. Jimmy, I don't know. Do you agree that this was not the best?
It was weird, first of all, but I did get a kick out of it because, first of all, was Cash Cashton should never, ever wear a singlet like that to the ring ever again. That was friggin'. He looked like a friggin'.
I ain't saying nothing, Jimmy. Go ahead. Just like I said, I'm blaming creative. It's all creative's fault. Not giving him the wardrobe right. They're not doing wardrobe right. They did not give Ricky Steamboat a proper script to talk about because he was rambling.
It was a mess.
Why are you going to need? I understand the North Carolina connection with FTR and Ricky Steamboat, and supposedly Ric Flair was supposed to be there, but Ric Flair said, "Nah, I'm too smart for this shit. Nah, it's okay. Check clear. I don't need to be there."
Yeah,
I know. I was actually sad that Flair wasn't there. That would have been hilarious. But I started doubting myself. I was thinking, I could have sworn Flair was announced for this. So I'm glad you actually brought that up, Vet, because I thought I was tripping for a minute. Maybe I was eating things.
I'm quite sure also that, you know, they did give Dragon a script or whatever. He's just not going to remember it because it's 70. So, like, he always does this. Like, every time he's ever done this, like, gone out there after a certain point in his career, well, mostly when his career is over and he has to do promos and stuff, it usually ends up like this, you know, where it's just a very honest portrayal of an old man, you know, just out there, just because everybody knows, like, whether it's in your family, whether it's just strangers at the grocery store, or whatever, you know, the old men will just talk to you and they just won't stop. So it's very accurate. It's the most realistic thing on this program, what happened here, actually. You know, so I'll give him that at least. But it's time for a change of pace. So we have a blood and guts match. Yeah. This has men in it this time. Well, yes. I mean, I use that term loosely, some of them, but you know, they were in it. They were all in it. They did it. They had it. It was on. It was an hour. Everything I said at the start of this, you know, still maintains throughout the men's match. I'm an equal opportunity apathy victim here. So as these men go about their, you know, garbage match bullshit, I will let you guys talk about it and what you have to say about it, what you haven't already said, while I dig into muffin number 3.
Go for it, Prof, because this, I felt by this point I was kind of done with the blood and guts thing, man.
I was done with the blood and guts thing. Like I said in the beginning, it dragged on after the fact where it was at the 5-4 advantage and the 5-5 that they were that the fans were a little bit tired. The fans were they were just waiting for the spots to percolate, if you will. But I'll say this. I don't want to give credit what credit is due. If it's Tony Khan or somebody, it ain't Tony Khan, it's somebody else. But they found a way to give the advantage back to the antagonizers. They found a way to give the advantage back to Death Riders by writing Mark Briscoe getting attacked by the Don Callis family behind the scenes, and making they were supposed to be at the disadvantage. They were supposed to, it was supposed to be the good guys getting the 2-minute. Well, they didn't even say if it was going to be 90 seconds or a 2-minute advantage, but they were supposed to get the 2-minute advantage. But they properly booked it where Mark Briscoe got attacked, and then it was kind of even Steven all the way through. But with that being said, that was the only thing that I liked. Everything else was sponsored by Home Depot. Everything else you saw was just the same thing that you would see in Combat Zone Wrestling, Game Changer Wrestling, and now in AEW. You just see kendo sticks, table spots, pitchforks, bed of nails, thumbtacks, glass, shard glass, Shanks. What the hell? Wait, I know Jon Moxley wants to go to prison because you're right. He wants to bring a shanking because that's basically what's left,
bro.
Basically, that's all that's left for him to bring is to shank somebody in the sides, so this way they could go down. Oh my God, they got me, and something like that. That's all that's left for Moxley and Jimmy and Vet for the ending. Again, I was hoping that Tony Khan listened to the wreckage because we needed Vet's thing to come to fruition here at Blood and Guts. I was hoping for maybe Sting because it's still the North Carolina connection. This is some weird booking, but I wanted to see Sting like up in the rafters with Renee being held like this, holding and with the back down, and then Moxley looking up at the rafters. See, if you want to make Moxley give
like
up,
a cuck.
Yeah, like a cuck. Use vet booking. He said it weeks ago. Use Renee as the crutch because for Moxley to again tap out three considerable times in a row with hang person Page, and then you got Darby with the sharpshooter, and now you got Kyle O'Reilly with the ankle lock. I got my part of the theory, bet we talked about this weeks ago, that he keeps quitting, he keeps tapping out. He might lose face with the other Death Riders, where we might have that Judgment Day scenario with Edge getting kicked out of the group by the other peers. Now you got that scenario playing out. Like, you keep tapping out, you're supposed to be our fearless leader. You're supposed to show this. But then I saw a little bit of snippets of Collision, guys. I don't want to like spoil this, but Moxley was on broadcast. He was on commentary. Like nothing happened.
Nothing really happened, bro.
Nothing really happened, and we're just going along with our business as usual. But we had it there. But I'm just saying, I fantasy booked. I don't think it would have made money, but I just was thinking about the vet. Just have Sting in the top, holding Renee hostage, maybe his hand over her mouth, but that would be heelish. Sting wouldn't do that to a helpless female, but that's just what I would have done.
Yeah, especially since he has to, in just a few weeks' time, he's got to travel around the world in a sleigh delivering presents to all the children. It wouldn't be a good look to see him do that. Yeah, so the thing about Mark Briscoe getting taken out, that's going to come into play a little bit later, but they'll at least touch on that and use that.
At least.
But that should be the least of anybody's concerns. Because like the professor said, Jon Moxley, which he taps out to Kyle O'Reilly in this, which
I couldn't believe that, dude. That was shocking to me.
Well, nobody was going to call that. That's for sure. But it even like, it makes sense with what they're doing right now. It's just that what they're doing doesn't make that much sense, or I don't have the faith in them that they're going to make a star out of Kyle O'Reilly with this anyway. So it's kind of like it's going to end up getting forgotten almost immediately, whatever they end up doing next. But yeah.
And to think, in closing, Jimmy and Vet, I'll say this. Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong are veterans in the War Games Blood and Guts concept, but it's kind of funny because on the NXT side, Undisputed Era main event players in the War Games scenario. Conglomeration, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong just didn't feel the same aura. Am I wrong, Jimmy? Am I wrong in that?
No, you're right. I cannot look at them the same way. You're right. Absolutely not. They've managed to bring them way down than what they used to be, even in NXT, dare I say, Ring of Honor. Before that, in New Japan and whatnot. They're totally goofballs here, dude. Really, that's all they are. They're a bunch of goofs. But that's AEW. It is what it is. Again, that done nothing for Kyle. It's going to do nothing for Kyle. And like you said, as we were about to get into Collision, he was on commentary pretty much the whole show. And there was nothing said about it. He didn't even bring it up, didn't care. It just didn't matter. You know what I mean? I don't understand.
If I'm booking Jimmy and Vet on this, since Kyle O'Reilly got the tap, right?
Right.
People said, what's the end game maybe for Kyle O'Reilly? What do you do? Well, we got that not NWA, but AEW National Heavyweight title. I mean, he could be in that Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal. You could reward momentum with more momentum. Am I wrong? Is that? Am I wrong there?
He's not gonna get it. Though. That's the thing.
No.
He ain't getting it.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. But I mean, you bring up a good point about them having a bigger stage and feeling more small time. And a lot of that, like you guys watching at home, it's probably just you take it for granted because pretty much most of us, if not all of us, have just been watching wrestling for years, whether it's nonstop, whether it's in and out, whether it's casually, whatever, you know, but it's hard to understand from just the fan standpoint at home watching how much production can make or break even the smallest things. Like the reason that people are shitting on the reason that people will say, like, when they see these New Japan guys come over and they'll say like, man, this guy used to be good in Japan and whatever, and now they suck in AEW or whatever because they're all old and broken down. Well, some of them are a little more older and broken down, but really the difference is the levels of production between New Japan and the way they shoot wrestling versus AEW
is huge.
And a bunch of nobodies that have no idea how to shoot wrestling is night and day different. Any weaknesses that these wrestlers have, New Japan is very adept at covering it. WWF was like that too. Like anybody that looked like shit, you know, they knew where to cover that up. And you don't realize how bad some of these people are till you go to a live show. You know, like I remember watching Chuck Taylor, you know, on Ring of Honor and stuff and being like, man, Chuck Taylor sucks. But when I went to see him live, I was like, oh my God, he's worse than I thought. Because you could see through everything. Like when you're right there and there's no camera angle to hide it, and you can see how much space there is between all of his stuff, how everything he does looks phony and slow. Like, you know, you could really get exposed without the proper camera work to cover it up. So NXT, obviously, the WWE production is pretty much top of the line. I prefer New Japan. I think they're neck and neck, and I think New Japan does a better job of making it look like sports. WWE does a better job of making it look like what they want it to look like. But that's the difference. When you're watching those War Games matches and stuff, you got real people that all they do is plan this out. And they've got agents working together to make sure that don't miss this, be over here when this happens, yada, yada, yada. And yeah, it's not perfect all the time, but they're pretty good at it. But AEW, I don't know who to blame because Keith Mitchell, I think, retired. So whoever they got over there now, it's like an understudy of a guy that was an understudy of Kevin Dunn or something. It's not the same level. So even the stuff that Toni books that could be good, and in his mind, he obviously thinks it's good, and when he puts it on paper, he thinks it's going to be good, but then when they go out there and shoot it, it's probably not how Toni pictured it, you know? Because he doesn't know how to tell him how to get the shot. He's not a movie director, so he doesn't know how to create what's in his head with the cameras. He only knows what he wants to see, and I bet you every night, Toni goes out there and he says, everybody did great. It's a great job, blah, blah, blah. He tells everybody, but in his mind, I'm sure he's like, that's not what I was thinking. I'm sure of it. Because we know how these very, like, you know, anal retentive, like specific fans get about little details and things like that. And if he's a stats guy, he's a details guy. And if he's a details guy, he's got to be completely disappointed with everything that goes on all of his shows because I'm sure it's not what he saw in his head. You know, or he doesn't get the reaction that he wants or whatever. So I think that's a long-winded way of, you know, kind of explaining what I think you're seeing there, Professor, you know, as far as the difference in how the same guys doing basically the same stuff can be so different.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. And we also get speaking of New Japan, we do get, what's his name again? Jeez, how did I go blank? From New Japan at the end of the match.
Gabe Kidd.
Oh, Gabe Kidd, that's it. He turns up again.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm sick of Gabe Kidd already. Jeez, what is
he hasn't been around and you're still sick of him.
That's what I'm saying, right? But whatever, man. He turns up. Obviously, he helps them pretty much win the match. But and I'm talking about the Dick Riders. Well, not the Dick Riders. I mean, he was trying to help the Dick Riders, but it didn't happen. And then what's it called? Colorado.
He took out what you call it, Darby Allin. He took him out of the cage.
Yeah, but to no avail anyway.
No, it was the fire spot on the table because of Gabe Kidd and Pac. They took him out. So it's kind of like
off the top.
Right. Rather than in a match where apparently you could do whatever you want with no consequence, rather than just lighting Darby on fire, they just pour the lighter fluid on tables instead, and then just toss him into the fire so that he's in the fire for 1 second, and then rolls out because these guys are sadistic. By the way, I know I wasn't paying much attention, but I remember Darby chasing people around with a stun gun a bunch of times. Did he use it in the match at any point?
No, it was Gabe Kidd that came with the stun gun in the end, I think.
Oh. That seems weird. I feel like Darby should have just had it and tased everybody immediately, but
well, weeks ago, Darby even had a flamethrower, so he didn't bring that into the war games either. So.
Yeah. Well, I understand that. You could get winded with that on your back and everything. Yeah. The tank. I can understand. What's stopping him? Just bring a gun. Is that too easy? Is a gun too easy? So you just come in and shoot everybody?
Imagine
I don't know.
Oh, God.
Well, even if it was a revolver, you got 6 shots and like how many people's on the team? You could.
if people could watch a DDT match with a gun spot, we could do it in AEW too. So we just have to find the right town and the right scenario for that.
If Cold Blood is saying, "Give me that 1, 2, 3 kid, pal." 1, 2, 3 kid.
Yeah. I miss the good old days of, Brian Pillman and Steve Austin. Like, we just need more guns.
That was crazy too, man. At that time, I thought, what the hell? But anyway, look, it didn't live up to the women's in some ways because the women's was such a train wreck, but in some ways, in a good way compared to the men. Because
it was timed right. It was time. The flow of the women was great. The men was dragged on because it was supposed to be 2.5 hours. They didn't need 2.5. I mean, you could have done that stupid 5-minute overrun. You could still got the same thing without dragging on to a lot of things there. That's the thing I looked at it from that.
And everyone came out every minute as well on that side of things.
Call me crazy, call me a cynic, guys, but I nitpick too much. But after all this story with the Death Riders, again, the ultimate payoff for Kyle O'Reilly, I get the reason for Kyle O'Reilly tapping on Moxley. But again, there was 2 guys in this match that needed better payoffs. Orange Cassidy was one of the first people to rise for AEW against the Death Riders, and he did not get. I don't think he even got that minimal payoff in my mind. And then, of course, Darby already got his payoff from a match previously, so he made Jon Moxley top. So I don't expect, but I think Orange Cassidy, from the inception of the Death Riders, not invasion, but takeover, if you will, guys. He was the guy that should have really came up big, getting kind of like the win. But I guess Darby's not a submission specialist. I guess that's, but he's like, whatever. I don't know. I mean, he could have done a whatever kind of figure 4 leg lock, but he needed to have
the Scorpion Deathlock, you mean, that he's been beating people with?
The whatever lock. We could rename it, but it is what it is.
You know what was stupid before we end this? I just wanted to point out because I've forgotten it, and then you brought up OC and reminded me. You know when he got the staple gun and used and stapled his hands in his pockets? Mm-hmm. That is going to be the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life, man. Like, seriously, what, you think he's not going to just go, you know what I mean, hands out, and it's all good, even though it was like 10 minutes later. It felt like.
Home Depot staplers are very good and very tough, so it takes a while for him to get it out of his.
Are they that big that it goes through your hands too into the jeans?
But if you're going to do it, but Jimmy, again, logistics. If you're going to do it right, then he has to have like razors in his pockets, so this way it makes it look like he has blood. So this way, when he gets it out of his pockets and he does his shit, he has blood in his hands, so he can beat up people. Keep it consistent. That's all that.
He needed a freaking nail gun. That's what he really needed, not a Staples gun.
Don't give Tony Khan ideas. You know somebody's watching this. You know this.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. But that's
Oh boy, Jimmy dropped out. Well, he's had enough. I can't blame him. But we'll try to move on our best without Jimmy. But So anyway, yeah, that was Blood and Guts, and I'm sure there's a lot more we could say. We've already spent a lot of time on it, but I'm sure we barely even, imagine if I had watched it, we would have so much more to talk about probably. But these are one of those kind of things where I would kind of have to like do it live, like a watch along. I can't try to recall all this and write this down and stuff. Plus I'd just get bored. So as we go to Collision, I think, Professor, what we need is, after all that violence, we need a change of pace. So to open up Collision, we're going to recap Blood and Guts. Just so everybody that didn't get a chance to watch it, but somehow tuned into Collision, is going to know what's been going on and how things shook out from Wednesday. And then we're going to start with, okay, so let's do this correctly. Let's follow the timeline of events. So Jon Moxley taps out at the end of Blood and Guts. Okay, Kyle O'Reilly's the man. Jon Moxley's a punk. So what's the best way to follow that up? You have Daniel Garcia, Wheeler Yuta, and Pac, who is very proud of himself for what he did to Darby Allin, but, still a loser. So they come out, and before they even get their opponents, Daniel Garcia goes and beats up Fatty Magic to get him off of commentary, which, thank goodness. Hey, Jimmy, how's it going?
That damn Tony Khan is sick, and I said that. Bang, my browser crashed. I'm like, what the hell?
Don Stevens.
God damn, Don Stevens.
So I was, just to catch you up, we recapped Blood and Guts on Collision, just in case you missed that, and then just for a change of pace. And then so Daniel Garcia beats up Fatty Magic off the desk, and their opponents, the Lethal Bulldogs, come out, and we have a nice 6-person to open up the show. Jon Moxley.
I must have missed something on Collision, guys. Could you just help me out, Vet? Since
sure.
you're the avid Collision watcher, not me, but when did Jay Lethal break away from Sanjay Dutt? Those people? Was that on Ring of Honor or Collision? Because I don't remember.
It was on Ring of Honor for sure, if it happened. It happened. We don't even know for sure if it happened.
I mean, you go from one thing with Sanjay Dutt's people, and then you go to the Lethal Bulldogs, which is a nice name, by the way. That's a good trio. That's a good trio's name, but it's a
good trio's name. Yeah, we'll see where they go with it. Right?
I just wanted clarity. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, the clarification is we don't know. It definitely didn't happen on Collision. Whatever happened or didn't happen was not on Collision.
Gotcha.
For all I know, he just showed up one day and they weren't there on Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
I mean, any case,
it's just like Jeff Jarrett having a final title run for his final year in professional wrestling. He announced it, never saw him again.
It's not too late. Still got 6 weeks left.
That's right.
That could be a good Christmas present.
It could be. Absolutely.
Whether Hangman walks out of the cage with the belt or not, Jeff Jarrett could be waiting for the winner. So, so like I said, Moxley picks up the headset, and spoiler alert, he does not get off for the duration of the show almost. He is just there. Lethal gets brutalized because, of course, if you got a match with the fucking job guy from Ring of Honor that got put with the guy that's the son of another guy or the nephew of another guy, you definitely don't need to beat him. You got to beat Jay Lethal in this match, right? So the ultimate insult. And then Pac gets on the mic and cuts a promo on Darby, challenging him to a match for Full Gear. Now, I really don't think I need to say anything else. Just the idea. It's funny. The idea of like, I can understand, even though I don't agree, the backwardsness of having Jon Moxley tap out to Darby Allin or I quit or whatever. In that I quit all by himself. I quit. Then we go to a multi-man match, and you would think, like, okay, well, we probably should have done the multi-man match first, and then somebody else quit, so that Jon Moxley could say, I never quit, and then you make him quit in the multi-man cage match or whatever, and now it's like, oh, shit, he quit. That's how you build, like, progressively upwards. They did it backwards, as they usually do. But now, Jon Moxley's just out here on commentary watching his guys, and then they take the guy with the most experience and the most savvy when you got two tiny, milky white jobbers right there ready to give up, and they can't even do that. They got to beat Jay Lethal, of all people, who's just being a good soldier and deserves so much better. You know, what else can you really say?
You can't. It's true.
Yeah. Dude, even see, Jimmy agrees with me. He's got to go. That's just how we do it here.
He's jealous of you because you had all those muffins, so he's looking for those muffins. That's why he's got. Supposedly the Wi-Fi's not working, but he's going for his muffins.
I see.
But let me ask you this, Vet, and then you go into the next segment, because I understand the critique about Jay Lethal taking, I guess, the fall here, if you will. I mean, it should have been Dynamite Kid's son. It should have been who else is in the match?
Exactly. The next thing I was gonna say is, if you can tell me the name of the third guy on the team,
I don't know. See, even Jimmy can't even do it. He had to run away.
Yes, yeah. If you could tell me the third guy on the team, then I can tell you. I could tell you even have the breath to start making a case that Jay Lethal should have done the job here.
So then, are we doing an arc for Jay Lethal's payoff against Moxley? Because everybody suffers first, and then there's a payoff after. So it probably is consistent. Maybe Jay Lethal will finally overcome the odds in a couple of months. He makes Moxley tap out at a future themed Dynamite.
One can only. Well, anyway, let's move on though. Lexi is with Aussie Open. You remember them, Jimmy, right? You hate them.
Yes, of course. Absolutely. Yeah. Big, bad, fatty Mark Davis, and of course, Carl Fletcher. How can I
say his full name? Say his full name.
Protostar.
The Protostar. That's right.
Then Lexi is with Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa, and they do a promo too. And Mina's got the cartoonish, like, one bandage wrapped around the head, you know? Like a Looney Tunes cartoon when they have to show somebody was injured, so they wrap the one bandage around the head like a headband. Yeah, that's good.
But at least we got a story coming out of this, because we know that Toni is on the warpath against 5 women. So all these women will benefit from Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa, unlike somebody else in the AEW Women's Division roster. That's all I'm saying.
You assume too much that anybody's benefiting from anything. Like, for example, Mark Briscoe. Is he going to benefit from a strong win against Mark Davis here? Because he's got to go up against the great Kyle Fletcher, right? So the best way to do that, as we know, is to give him a strong win against this guy that just shows up sometimes, and yeah. And that's exactly what happened. He got a strong win with the Froggy Bow. So now I think he has a chance against Kyle Fletcher. Although he's technically somebody that doesn't need a strong win. Because a lot of the times, the person that gets the strong win is a guy that also hasn't been on TV for a minute. So they need to remind everybody that they exist and can win. And then they pull somebody even more obscure out to do a job. Usually it'd be Shane Taylor. Then that person goes on to beat Shane Taylor, and then they go on to lose whatever title match they get. We Jimmy, we invented the strong win gimmick, so we understand how this works by now. But yeah, so Mark Briscoe goes over Mark Davis. Christopher Dales and Scorpio Skye are doing a promo by themselves. Yeah, Scorpio Skye. No top flight.
Welcome back, Scorpio. We haven't seen you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Welcome back. He
said, hey, I'm Scorpio Skye. Remember me, and I'm going to do my best. And he did the fist thing.
For the win.
Yeah, for the win. Then
where's that UFC guy to put Scorpio Skye over? I forgot his name.
Yeah, I don't know. It was working. It was working for a while. And then the minute he left, and who you're talking about is Dan Lambert.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the minute he left, it was.
Dan Lambert was great, though. I actually love these promos.
He was something. Josh Alexander's great. He attacks Michael Nakazawa. I wrote down in my notes Tozawa, and I was like, that's not right. As I was just looking at that, I was like, no, that guy is actually people. Some people know him. This guy, Michael Nakazawa, is Kenny Omega's manservant, and
Literally.
that's how, that's how Josh is trying to get at Kenny Omega to by crippling his manservant with an ankle lock, and there
Why
you go.
the hate, man? What happened to Canadian love between these two?
I don't
come
know.
on.
I don't know.
The
Not
best
really sure.
Canadians. No need for violence.
Well, I mean, he already inadvertently crippled Kenny's one best friend, so now he's gonna working cripple his other best friend until Kenny's out of friends.
Just remember, Jimmy, different province of Canada. There's always
true. That's true. You're right.
All right, MXM TV. What is this, 4 weeks straight? They got
crazy. Oh, I popped again, and then I was disappointed.
So here's the mistake they made. We talked about production earlier. This is a different kind of production gaffe. It doesn't matter because nobody watches. But I'm just saying, like, even me, even with my half-ass paying attention, even with my blasé attitude towards AEW as a viable product for anybody to be entertained by, I still caught this. So this is one of the reasons why they call me the best in the world, I guess. So they're coming out, and we know MXM does a challenge, like where they do an open challenge. Basically, they call it the casting call. And then they don't know who the opponent's going to be because reasons, I guess. They don't know who it is, but it could be any combination. It could be a mixed six. It could be a tag. It could be a mixed tag. It could be a singles. It could be anything. They don't know until Arcadiora says who's coming out. So as MXM Collection is coming out, or MXM TV, whatever you want to call them, as they're coming out, the lower third says Taya Valkyrie only. So I guess we're getting a singles match. They stooged it off before it even happened, before we get the surprise of what kind of a match or who the opponent is going to be. It ends up being Ty Mello. Okay. You can imagine where it goes from here. Ty Mello did a job. I mean, Ty Mello got a job. Taya did the job. She was showing, Miranda Alizé and Nixon Newell that there are no small jobs, just small wrestlers. And then, as soon as she wins, Ty Mello gets jumped by Marina Shafir, who then gets jumped by Toni Storm.
Oh.
It's what can I say? It's personal, man. It's personal.
It writes itself. Just what you just said, it writes itself right there. Beautifully. Beautiful.
It's a good thing Marina went out there and did that instead of minding her business. That way Toni could get her hands on her,
I'm kind of confused why Toni came in for the save and not Anna Jay. I'm just saying. Keep it consistent. It's for the tournament. Forget. I'm sorry.
I can't even blame the fact that Anna Jay has a big butt, and that would probably cause a speed impediment, like for her to get down there, because Toni has a big butt. So that ain't it. I don't know.
That's true.
All right.
Nothing wrong with big bucks, guys. Nothing wrong with big bucks.
No, I can't lie.
Yeah.
No, you can't lie. Neither can I.
But I could lie and tell you I paid attention to Kyle Fletcher versus Scorpio Skye in the battle of the cheese sandwiches. So I won't lie to you. I'll tell you I didn't pay attention. Brainbuster by Kyle.
Is that what happened? I walked out. I went to the restroom, so I actually missed this match. Is that basically what happened?
Were you in there for like 20 minutes? Did you have like a stomach virus? Because that's the only way you could have missed the whole thing by going to the bathroom.
That long?
It was a while.
I guess I was a while there.
Yeah. Jeez. Mark Davis does come out to attack after to add insult to loss, or injury to loss, or injury to insult, whatever it is. Mark Davis comes out there, and then Top Flight and Mark Briscoe run off, the Callis family, or the Aussie Open, basically. And they have a promo battle. Mark Briscoe versus Kyle Fletcher. I'm sure you could tell who won, but Kyle Fletcher did get the last word in. But he did make one interesting point. And I say interesting in the most mild of terms. He made it a point to say that the Don Callis family had nothing to do with Mark Davis nothing to do with Mark Briscoe getting taken out at Blood and Guts.
Sure.
He seems to say it. He didn't say it in the normal facetious way a heel would say it when you know they did it. He made it sound like he said it in a way where he's like, yeah, we really didn't have anything to do with that. So if that's a little breadcrumb or whatever to follow for where the story goes next, who did? If the Don Callis family didn't do it, who did do it?
Oh God. If they do that, Jesus
is that really a breadcrumb or a muffin crumb? Let's think about that.
Ah, good question.
It's all bread. So yeah, there's that little thing to chew on, regardless of what kind of a crumb it is. Yes, Lab Rat. It's true. It's damn true. Mercedes won her 13th belt with no signs of stopping.
At all.
At the tailgate brawl for Full Gear, there's going to be a $200,000 four-way tag team match. Now we know that's also on the show. We're going to have the $1 million match, but here's like a fifth of that on the line in this tailgate brawl. So a promo by everybody participating in that, which I forget who they all were. It was like the Acclaimed and some other people. So look forward to that.
So Tony Khan is taking all his profits from the pay-per-view buy rates from the gate for $1,200,000 matches. 2 matches that is going to cost them $1,200,000.
$1.2 million. Yeah. Yes.
So then what's left for Tony Khan to spend on staff, crew,
everything,
finances,
everything? We're not banking on profits to pay people. That's all coming out of pocket. So
yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, maybe even some of the the rights for even being on TBS and TNT is coming out of his pocket.
True.
Renee is doing the voiceover for a package on Statlander versus the CEO, all 13 belts. And then we get Alex Windsor and Riho, the new Ultimate Team with matching gear and very nice, versus Hyen and Maya World. So we know who this would have been if they had stuck around for 3 more minutes. But instead,
oh shit!
Instead, they get a nice tune-up match as the Tony condescending the choppers overhead to
Oh, was that you?
Surveilling, it's surveilling what's happening here. He doesn't like this stuff here over at the West Coast installation. This match did go a bit over 3 minutes. And they gave Hyen and Maya World that offense that I think Nixon and Miranda were looking to get. But so,
serves them right.
Yeah. But of course, Windsor and Riho are going to pick up the win. And then Mina Toni does a promo on screen because they are going to face Windsor Ho on the first round of the tag team tournament.
Windsor Ho. I like it.
You got to pick.
Windsor.
You got to pick for who's going to win these guys.
just for you to say Windsor Ho, I hope they win. That's just a great name for a pimp to say to a woman.
Windsor Ho. True. Windsor Ho.
Where's my Windsor Ho at? Give my money, Windsor Ho.
Yep. Give me my 1.2 million. Windsor. Kyle O'Reilly has a sort of like one of those, it's like a combination package and promo thing, like
special now.
Put in the footage and the music and he's saying a message. He's basically saying a message to Jon Moxley. Like, you're a bitch and I beat you. That's basically what he said. Now, remember, keeping in mind, Jon Moxley's been on commentary for this whole show. I haven't been talking about it other than when I mentioned it at the top, but he's just been sitting there talking about all these matches he has nothing to do with. And you know me, I watch this shit at double speed. Yeah. And Jon Moxley, even when I was just listening, Jon Moxley had like these long pauses in between some of the stuff that he was saying. So his mind is not racing a mile a minute per se. But imagine how it would have sounded if I was watching it at normal speed. It would have
Dude,
been
he was very
those
low.
must have been like awkward dead air silences from
He
what
screwed
was
up. I think McGuinness and Shivani during commentary. I felt they changed their tone completely, and it just felt off. For some reason, he would whisper a lot too. He'd be like, I don't know, he's weird, man. He's a weird guy.
So wait, maybe I'm like rushing ahead, but did they confirm maybe Kyle O'Reilly against Moxley for Full Gear? Because that's the only
not
logical thing to do.
Yes.
Oh, they
yes.
did?
Yes. Yes.
I missed
You were
that,
probably
man.
in the bathroom again. But
Yeah.
what happened was, what I was getting to it, which is after they play this package, I guess, for the house, Jon Moxley is so mad that he gets up off the desk and grabs the house mic and cuts a promo back, basically saying, like, yeah, they didn't confirm it for Full Gear per se, but he did say any match, anytime, any place with
Full
you or your conglomeration buddies or anything you want, like whatever type of match. It's like, motherfucker, you just had the ultimate type of team match and you lost. You personally lost. What is there? That's the whole thing. Where do you've got no legs to stand on. You literally, because you tapped out to a knee bar. So you should have no leg to stand on and challenging anybody for anything. And they're not even trying to like sow the seeds of discontent as far as like, yeah, why are we listening to you, quitter? You know, they're not even hinting at it. And you know what AEW hints, they don't do it subtly. It's very much like hitting you over the head with a trash can lid or a cookie sheet. So I don't know what the hell they think they're doing, but anyway, now we're excited for Kyle O'Reilly versus Jon Moxley. Part 3.5.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, if you count, Blood and Guts. Lexi is with Ty, and she's got a message for Mega Fear, which is, we're going to beat you up. Me and my buddy Anna, who's not here for whatever reason. And then Jimmy, it's a return to form for Collision. It's the All-Star 8-man main event where you have Sammy and Roosh, and we could call this LFITR maybe. It's Sammy and Roosh teaming up with FTR here to take on Juice Speedo.
Didn't they call it that? Juice Speedo?
No, they should have. That's another vet original.
No,
it's Juice Robinson, Jet Speed, and Bandito. So Juice Speedo. I see no objections. We'll go with that.
I'll go with that. Mm-hmm.
They sound like Speedos though, Vet. Like literally.
That's kind of part of the joke. So this match was the usual that you can expect. 4 guys on each side doing stuff. But here's the surprising part. Bandito hits a 21 plex and pins Roosh.
Is it surprising anymore at this point when it comes to Roosh?
He's supposed to pin somebody from FTR to give us some intrigue for Full Gear.
Strong win, remember?
Yeah, the strong win from Bandito, but at least to get some, retribution, if you will, because Mama Dito got embarrassed by FTR weeks ago. Why not in this all-star 8-man match, which should have been for at least $150,000 to be consistent? But again, I'm nitpicking, but that's where you do it. That's where you do it.
Yeah. Also, and also, like, I know you're kind of on autopilot these days, Jimmy, but the whole reason you said, like, what should we expect? Well, I don't expect Roosh to do jobs. Isn't that kind of his whole rep?
Right. No, I hate that he's doing jobs. And correct me if I'm wrong, and it could have been all kayfabe, but I used to remember hearing stuff where if he got pinned like this, treated like this, in Ring of Honor, for example, he would have a freaking fit. You know what I mean? He never
might walk out.
Right. Yeah. Remember that shit? Exactly.
Are they just beating guys like Moxley and Roosh and all these other guys that don't do jobs just to rub it in the face of the old Alizé and Newell? Look at all these people more over than you doing a job.
I didn't know that Nixon Newell had that much stroke to cause people to like, see, I can do it too. You should do it too.
Yeah, well, he doesn't give a shit anymore, it seems. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? So,
well, she's got plenty of time to stroke from now on. She's just got to be careful that she doesn't blow out her knee stroking.
Shit. I could add to that, but I won't.
Well, if any of you guys got anything else to add, now's the motherfucking time because Collision is over.
You can't top it.
Yeah, with the 8-man all-star. Well, I didn't know if they were all-stars, but the names just popped me. Jet Speedo.
All-stars.
LFTR. Yes, that's what you said, right?
It was LFTR or LFITR. I'll let it be your choice.
It was LFITR. That was the better one.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And Juice Speedo. Yep. Great. All-star main event. And yeah. So there you go. Roosh did a rare job.
I think I'll just say this, but, not to be funny here, but this is just going from what I'm seeing here. What a letdown from Blood and Guts to Collision.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
That's the problem. What a letdown, vet. I mean, what's going on here? I mean, I'm not talking about the matches and the roster, but if you're gonna do storytelling, vet, close it out for us, or Jimmy, close it out. I mean, how can you miss the boat on having a big ass Dynamite Blood and Guts theme and then not really doing proper storytelling to curtail that momentum from that to Collision? At least we make fun of Raw and SmackDown guys, but at least SmackDown tries to be consistent and tries to be a big deal. They don't throw it away, but they try, but they have thrown it away. I'm not gonna say they haven't, but at least WWE tries to make it a point that SmackDown may be the B show, but it's a big ass B. It's a big
motherfucking huge B. Definitely
it's a huge B, but for Collision, it's not even a B show. It's a C. It's not even a C show. That's even giving up too much credit. It's an incomplete show. You go from Blood and Guts to not keep that momentum going storytelling wise and building to full gear properly. It's just a waste. That's just what I see.
Although Collision is perceived like it's equal to Dynamite per se. But you're right. You know what I mean? 100% right.
Collision makes Ring of Honor feel better or more special.
I don't know about that.
That's a rib from me.
Well, if you're brave enough to check out an episode of Ring of Honor, then
try it.
You may retract that statement if you actually watch it. But yeah, man. I mean, look, Collision is the secondary show, whether they wish it was or not. It's always been, and Jimmy, you can attest to this. It's just been like the more casual wrestling show because it can have some entertaining stuff on it that doesn't really, it's all just like one-offs and, individual matches that can be a fun little wrestling show where if you went to it, you'd probably have a chill good time. Like, Professor, when you check out an MLW show that comes to New York or something, you're just like, yeah, it's not big time, but going back to what I said about production and being there live and everything, being live is the great equalizer. Being there live for a wrestling show is where the WWE, AEW, and even smaller shows like TNA, MLW, all these other things don't feel appreciably different what you're actually getting. Because you're at the end of the day, you've got one view of a ring in the room and the guys come out and they have matches, So it really, the only difference is how many little packages they make you sit through on the TV. So
no, you're right.
Collision is very casual and it often does not greatly follow up from what happened on Dynamite. They'll try to pepper in packages, to catch you up, but it's not always followed through with on Collision. And then when people note that, people that only watch Dynamite, let's say, for example, let's just throw a completely random name out there. I don't know where I could have possibly got this from. Keeping It 100 with Conan. Let's say that show. They don't watch Collision. They only watch Dynamite. Okay, I get it. There's only so many hours in the day. I don't blame them for that. But whenever they bring up an angle on Dynamite that they don't understand, and then someone says it's something from Collision, they get offended about it, like that they should have had to watch Collision. Well, I don't understand what the argument is. Are you supposed to, if you have to put Collision, Tony's putting on Collision, whether you like it or not, is he supposed to not try to get people to watch it with his angles going from one show to another? Is he supposed to just give up completely? Of course he's going to try to bounce some stuff back and forth from show to show. So if you don't watch Collision, you can just say, oh, I missed that. You can't just get mad that he didn't put on Dynamite. He's got 2 shows to do. So, but even when those things happen, I don't think it happens enough. I don't think you should be able to miss a Collision and know what's going on, because you just got too many random one-off matches on Collision, which can be cool if you're just chilling. But I don't know, guys, these days it's getting a little bit harder to just chill. Like, a lot of us have got stuff to do. A lot of us are busy. A lot of us are going through stuff, and we don't have time for an extra 2 hours of wrestling, even if we wanted to watch it. And like Josh is saying, a SmackDown going back to 3 hours, that's another hour people don't want. They're already not watching it. Now you're going to add an hour. Sometimes just adding the hour turns people off. Like, true. Even though they could watch it in parts if they wanted, but no, they just see the 3 hour block and they're like, I'll just skip the whole thing. So, like, I get it. It's not enviable. Everybody needs more content for the business, but the people can't even keep up with the content even when they love it sometimes. So we're out here struggling, trying to make a living, So
I just miss Punk's vision of Collision.
That was great at first, right? For sure. Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
No, it was the same. Only difference was he wrestled on it. And he had his people there.
It had a different vibe, that just what you say. It just had a different vibe.
It did. And that the different vibe carries over because Collision does have a different vibe than Dynamite. It feels like more laid back, more casual. But that's not always a good thing, because your whole point was, we just came off of Blood and Guts. How are you going to hype me up? And they don't. So, I get it. I get it from all sides. I get the burden that Tony's put on himself. I get the fans being fed up. Like, everybody's kind of right. It's just an unenviable situation. Even if everything was perfect. Let's say Raw and SmackDown were the best they've ever been. 6 hours is asking a lot. Mm-hmm. It just is.
Absolutely.
Raw used to be 1 hour, bro. It used to be Remember 1 hour. At one point, for a long time, it would be 1 hour. And they added a second hour. We felt like we were eating good because we got more. Nitro was 3 hours.
Right.
Just things aren't like they were then. And even if, think about everything else, like the amount of stuff that they have available to watch on demand, not just by appointment. How do you pick which thing you're going to watch? And a lot of that stuff is easier to choose over wrestling. If there's a new Netflix show I want to see, or if there's a new movie they added on Amazon Prime that I didn't go to the theaters, but now I can watch it at home, or anything else that you could be doing other than watching an episode of Collision. These are the things that everybody has to do, but there is no going back. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. This is just the way the world is now, and the streaming bubble's it's already popped, but it's too late to go back now. So this is all just stuff we have to deal with. I don't have the answers, but I'm just pointing out the problems.
And it's a lot of problems. And it's it's hard to answer. And like Josh says, you're right. It's hard to balance everything. I mean, there's a lot going on, too much going on, too much wrestling, too much shows. No one knows how to even do any continuous storylines anymore. Like, it just feels, I don't know, it just feels weird at the moment.
And to top it all off, sorry to just keep going, but just one final thing. This is kind of this is what we started talking about with the idea of the reason why I didn't really watch Blood and Guts that closely. Because not only is it not special on the show because you have 2 identical matches, right? Not only is it not special in this time of year because WWE's doing War Games matches and 2 of those.
Stupid, right?
But whether there's a cage or not a cage, there's matches on every show that's no DQ. Falls Count Anywhere. There was a Falls Count Anywhere match on Blood and Guts. Hardcore match. Any kind of thing. You see this stuff all the time. People will use random tables and random matches that aren't even stipulations. We're just going to put you through the announce table because that's a thing to do. Oh, we'll just pull out a table and put you through that because that's a thing to do. It doesn't even have to be a gimmick match. It's just we're seeing the same stuff over and over again so that when Blood and Guts actually comes on, I'm so desensitized and I'm so over it, I can't even be bothered. Even if I wanted to, which I don't, because I've never really liked cage matches anyways, but now I'm going to make time for this when that's all I see on TNA, NXT, whatever. It's too much of the same shit.
It's sad and stupid. You're right. And they don't have a clue. They don't see it. They don't see what they do. I don't know. It's been doing my head in for years now. But Prof, you got any final words on that?
We need an all cage AEW show. 2 hours of cage matches.
Imagine that.
For the wreckage, just to review.
AEW lock in.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Kids love saying lock in now. So it's the perfect title for a themed pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do pay-per-view. Lock in. I can't do the TK voice, man. You do much better than me, man.
Oh.
Come on, just once before we go.
9 days from tonight. I can't. My voice is gone.
9 days from tonight. Oh, he's such a fucking goofball. But anyway, I guess it's a wrap, right? I mean, we've said everything we've needed to say. So, in saying that, well, like I said, Prof, any final thoughts before we take it home?
I think Vet said everything eloquently. There's nothing else to harp on.
You can't top that. It's true.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. That's why. Well, Prof, in saying that, then tell them where they can find you and what you're doing and what's going on with the reflection and all the spotlight.
Well, we just dropped a reflection episode, so click that link on the bottom of my page right now, www.youtube.com/pro wrestling reflection. We just did an episode, Greatest Rivalries Edition, between Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe from TNA Wrestling 2006 to 2008 to a degree. One of the best times of TNA Wrestling, one of the best times to be a TNA soldier, one of the best times to watch Spike TV. So, we reflect on those great matches between Angle and Joe.
Wow. Very nice indeed. Anything else where they can follow you on the X, even Prof?
Same name. It's PWSOPRF, PWSOProf. It's there on my YouTube, on my Twitter, on my Blue Sky, all that stuff. Just follow me and follow the nostalgia with myself and the Tommy Wonder. Absolutely. The best nostalgic podcast on the planet, mind you. But so go check that out. In saying that, Vet, what are you up to and what are you doing, man? Anything happening today?
Yeah, I think so. If you want to hop on and watch me hang out with a little bit of Twitch gaming and stuff, maybe Ad Opinion Haver will do you just fine. You can check me out on Ad Opinion Haver on all your favorite social media platforms. Regardless, you can check me out every Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern for Impact Attack with Brandon. Talk about TNA and their mess therein, which I alluded to a large portion of earlier in this show. You can check out the Next Level Wrestling Review every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, with Big Ray, where we talk about the NXT mess. You can check out Wrestling with Rick Rogers every Friday. He just had Jamie Dundee on this past episode as a guest, and holy crap, like, there's nothing PG-13 about that guy anymore, let me tell you. So definitely check that out. It's something. I was cracking up at work. People were probably looking at me like, what's going on? What is he listening to? And then the Stevie Richards Show, of course, more Stevie Richards Show every Friday. So check out the Stevie Richards Show, the best show in pro wrestling today. And check out Limpin' Ain't Easy with Timmy Baltimore, and his guest James Ellsworth is his latest guest. So you can find out what happens when a man with 2 hands has a fighting chance, or whatever he says.
It's awesome. And I know you're talking about Rip Rogers. I just want to say, you noticed it, but I got kicked out of my browser again. That's why the NXT thing stayed up the whole time. So I just want to put it out there, like you said about Rip Rogers, so you get the chance to. But anyway, in saying that, if you want to follow me, you can on the X at the PWC Network. Also, more importantly, like and subscribe right here at Hammy Media Group's YouTube channel. Again, I'd like to thank everybody. Our numbers keep going up. Our subscriber numbers keep going up. And that's all that matters. Thanks to all of y'all putting in the work for us. We really appreciate you all. And yeah, I think that's about it. So in saying that, I am Jimmy T. He is the best in the world, Jamie DeVette Williams, and he is the magnanimous and the glorious, the Professor Chabelo Vera Cruz. And you've been listening and watching the
Wreckage.
Boy.
Boy, live right here on Hammy Media Group's YouTube channel, and of course on channelattitude.com after the fact. Till next time, adios amigos. Take it easy. Peace.